Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1999's 8mm. All right. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. And as always, if you want to follow the show, you could follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Kiss the Reviews. And before we get into the cast of 8mm, did you have an announcement, Corey?
I did. One of our awesome subscribers, Sherelle Morgan, reached out to me and asked if she could possibly make us some t-shirts. And because I'm white, I'm like, how much does it cost? And she was like, nothing. I'll do it for free. And then I was like, yes, make us some t-shirts. So we have t-shirts now, gang. It's not free to you, I would imagine. But if you take a look here at this lovely Life Lessons with Uncle Corey shirt, autographed by the maker herself, you can get a shirt like that. I don't know what she can do for you, but she can tell you. So reach out to her. All her information is down there in the bottom parts where you find information on shows. And just let her know what you're looking for, and she will let you know how much that shit's going to cost you.
Perfect. And speaking of bottom parts, let's get into the cast of 8mm. This film stars Nicolas Cage as Tom Wells, Joaquin Phoenix as Max California, James Gandolfini as Eddie Poole, Peter Stormare as Dino Velvet, Anthony Heald as Longdale, Chris Bauer as Machine, and Catherine Keener as Amy Wells.
This movie made me a mega fan of Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
The guy who played Dino Velvet.
Yeah. You
want to talk about charismatic, and just like his voice and his mannerisms in this were everything. He was such a fan of his.
He was so good in this, and he plays like the creepy come see my trains in the basement kind of guy. Which is literally, he embodies everything. I've never met a porn director in my life, but I would imagine that that's what most of them are like.
You were right.
Two quick things. One, James Gandolfini, great in this movie. But literally, as soon as James Gandolfini speaks, I'm like, why is Tony Soprano got like fucking big mutton chops and doing porn now? And two, I didn't know Bert Kreischer, the Machine, was in this movie.
That was the other point I was going to make, is every time Dino Velvet said, Machine, do something, I fucking laughed my ass off because of Bert Kreischer. So yes. Bert Kreischer just made snuff films funny. Thanks, Bert.
I'm the Machine!
It's been a long time since I've seen this. And it is, when I first saw it, it was such a dark, like, I don't know, for the time, because, you know, the internet wasn't what it is now. It was like the peek behind the curtain of the dirty underbelly of porn. And, you know, now we just get bombarded online with all kinds of fucking porn. And
oh yeah, just if you want to watch a snuff film, type in snuff and it'll pop up. You might have to weed through the grass a little bit, you know. You might find some guy like chewing tobacco and spitting on some chick's a-hole. But for the most part, I think you'll find what you're looking for.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, this movie opens with some setup, right? And it's the setup of Tom Wells. He's a private investigator. He's doing some work for a client who wants to know about her son-in-law or whatever. And he then goes back home to see his wife and child.
If I may.
You may.
Cue the music.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, go-getters in the self-employed world. Uncle Corey here. Do exactly what Tom Wells is doing here and keep chasing only big fish. He could be sitting in motel parking lots, taking pictures of cheating husbands, making a good enough living to have that house and be totally safe as far as a private investigator is concerned. But he's like, no, I want that big fish.
Yep.
And I am for it. That's how you make a name for yourself.
Absolutely. So Wells is then contacted by Daniel Longdale. He's a lawyer for this rich widow, Mrs. Christian, whose husband just died. And after going through her husband's safe, she found an 8mm snuff film, which they believe captures a real murder. But Mrs. Christian wants to know for sure. And I got a couple of things here. Okay. First of all, Anthony Held, whatever, however you pronounce his last name. And we've done a couple of films that he's been in. But his choice of mustache in this film was the wrong choice.
I disagree. Immediately, I was like, pedophile, you're into some dirty shit. He was the one I thought did it the whole fucking time. I think it was a perfect mustache and set up the right amount of forebodance and foreshadowing.
As far as his character goes, sure. It's a decent choice. But my God, that mustache on his face is just not a good look.
No, he honestly looks like he was auditioning for the live-action Simpson feature as Ned Flanders.
If it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella.
Kudos to him because his entire character bothered me the whole time.
Yeah. No,
I wanted
absolutely.
to slap the shit out of it. Like, why are lawyers and cops those type of people where you fucking hate them until you really need one? And then you're like, send me if somebody's breaking into my house, send me the most aggressive fucking cop on the planet to shoot everyone. Like, I'll be hiding in the bathtub. That's what I want to tell 911. You know what I mean? Like, if I get if I feel the need for a snuff film just because I can order one, I want a wormy fucking lawyer like that. Like the best piece of shit possible.
Yes. Hell yes.
Like they make this lady, Mrs. Christian, and her husband, who, judging from like the painting of him and like just how the house is set up, it's like, I think he grew up as part of like the Hitler Youth. So he's into some fucking nefarious shit. You already could tell that.
He's an old school Pittsburgh steel magnate. Yeah, he was definitely part of the Hitler Youth, dude.
But I'm telling you right now, if Mrs. Christian, who's an old biddy who's literally ready to die, she's like, she got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel. And she finds this film, real life. Okay, let's talk real life. Mm-hmm. She's burning the film. She's not going, oh, pearl clutching. This poor young lady, was she actually murdered? I need to hire a private investigator.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, widows. Uncle Corey here. So we've found a safe. And you've managed to open it after some very difficult, long, exaggerated processes that have only met in failure. Finally, you crack this thing, and you find an 8mm tape. As your Uncle Armando just said, fucking burn it. Don't even watch it. Just burn it, because whatever's on there, I'll dispel all the illusions. They're all 16-year-old girls getting murdered by a leather daddy. That's the way it's going to be. That's why you hide 8mm films in your safe. It's not a family vacation, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Now, if you want to play it, and I'll just tack on to your PSA, if you want to play it and you have a random 8mm fucking reel-to-reel that you want to put together, and the minute it starts and it's like, oh, there's Leather Daddy, it's a really dirty like film, and there's a half-naked girl on a bed. Okay, now you're done. Like, it could be like, oh, we're incriminating the mayor or whatever. If that's on the film, okay, watch the film. Let's see what happens. As soon as you see Leather Daddy and obvious underage girl, go ahead and hit stop, take the shit off, and then light the shit on fire. Wells here then goes and looks through missing persons files. He finds that the girl is Marianne Matthews. And then he goes to see her mother, And he searches through the house for clues, and he finds Marianne's diary where she wrote a note for her mom that she went to Hollywood to become a famous actress with her boyfriend, but her boyfriend is in jail now, and she's missing. And this, I don't think we knew this in 1999, but this was our intro into Norman Reedus.
Yeah, he was only in jail because his brother Merle put him up to stealing some shit. That's how that works, right? They're all the same character?
Yes.
I thought her mother, at the beginning, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Cliched, tropish mom, lost her child, playing that role, blah, blah, blah. But about halfway through her and Nicolas Cage's scene, something happened where she became fucking captivating. And her performance through the rest of this movie was amazing.
Yeah, no, I loved this character. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, when she breaks down at the end, which we'll get to, obviously, but when she breaks down at the end, like the Canadian wildfires and all the smoke in the air really started affecting my eyes. It was rough.
I bet. After he goes to the prison to see Norman Reedus, he goes back to see Mrs. Matthews, and he leaves her the diary for her to find, and then he leaves to head to California to follow the lead that he got. And in Hollywood, he meets an adult video store employee named Max California, and he pays Max to help him get into like the gross, dirty underbelly of illegal porn, which leads him to some gross porn garage sales.
I gagged the entire 20 minutes this was on film. That whole scenario, I would have walked in like, nope, and turned right the fucking walk out. And not because of the porn, not because of the disgusting people. It was so fucking dirty.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, people organizing porn sales. Uncle Corey here. They call it a dirty business and, you know, you're dealing in sex. But here's one thing most sets on porn shoots is sanitary for everyone's safety. So when you're selling the product, you don't have to do it in a rat shit infested fucking basement that was bombed out because of fucking nuclear testing back in 1938. What are you doing?
You're right again.
These guys did such a good job with, and the director did such a good job with filming the, you know, just the whole movie in general, but these specific scenes, you know, to just add the dirty griminess and whatever to the whole thing, like the director did in Fear and Loathing, like the director did in Seven, like the overall lighting and just film work that the director did in this, all the shots, all the scenes, it's so good, and it adds to the creepiness factor of this whole fucking film.
Oh, 100%.
But I also have a quick don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, private investigators who've been hired by a fucking rich heiress that found a snuff film in her late husband's safe.
Oddly specific, but go.
You have flown to California to follow your lead. You've met a guy who couldn't have a more perfect name of Max California to help you into the dirty underbelly of the porn world. And you now have decided that he's going to lead you into these porn garage sales. Can you stop dressing like a cop? Mess up your hair a little bit. Don't wear a leather jacket with a fucking Bill Cosby sweater underneath. Like, dress like these guys dress, okay? Wear some jeans. No slacks. No dress shoes. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? If you want to, like, go undercover to find out what the bleep-a-bloop, do it. But can you actually go undercover and dress like some of these scumbags?
And if I could piggyback on that, maybe be a little bit more discreet with how you're going about your business. Because he's just walking up to everybody like, hey, what's this? And they're like, oh, it's fetish shit. Cool. You got any snuff? Dude, if I did, I ain't selling it to the fucking guy screaming, do you have any snuff? You fucking bent? Like, what are you doing?
Dude, this guy has got narc. He should just tattoo it right across his forehead.
He might be great at surveillance, but the rest of this is bullshit. This is why he wasn't a cop.
Wells gets in contact with Eddie Poole, this porn talent scout. And after tapping his phone and running surveillance, he's led to a director named Dino Velvet in New York City who has a dude known as Machine in his films. Nope, not that machine. This machine. Leather Daddy Machine. Tom then pretends to be a client interested in commissioning this bondage film directed by Mr. Velvet and starring Machine.
Would you mind cueing the music one more time? I got to do this.
Absolutely.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, investigators. So you've ignored Armando. You've gotten really bad at undercover. Now you're going to go so far as telling Eddie over the telephone, you're fucked, Eddie. We're coming after you. We know you murdered this girl. You're fucked. You hang up. You watch his next move. Brilliant, right? Fucking brilliant. You see where it's going to lead you. It leads you to Dino Velvet. The very next day, you're like, hey, man, you never heard of me. I'd like to commission a film. Big fan of your work. Still dressed like a fucking cop after you've already introduced yourself to Ed. What are you doing? This is ridiculous, bro. And
just because...
like, you should feel guilty for the rest of your life about what happens to Max California from here on out, because it's 100% on your dumb ass, boring ass, bitch ass, ratchet ass, fucking tactical fucking awareness.
Listen, just because you go from, hey, Eddie Poole, you're gonna get fucked and I got you. Just because you go from that to this, I want a dirty bondage film. That's not undercover. No. That doesn't. You're literally wearing all the same shit. And Eddie Poole calls Dino Velvet here, and he was like, hey, this guy looks like a dirty Nicolas Cage. He's probably going to be coming into your fucking office. And then dirty Nicolas Cage shows up and you're like, and he's immediately like, cool. And he's always got like he's always sucking on his pinky or doing whatever and licking guns or whatever the fuck he's doing. And he, again, like you said, immediately he's just like, cool. I need this much up front and we're going to shoot here. And Nicolas Cage here is like, cool. Can I get the address? I want to be there for the shoot. Listen, not for nothing, but if you're like filthy, dirty porn director, you're like, even if the guy's legit, you're like, hey guy, I shoot this shit on my own fucking time. Suck a dick. You're not allowed. It's a closed set.
Yeah, first off, we need time to write a script. If my porn doesn't have a script involved, I'm not watching it.
Yeah, I need a story. I mean, God.
You gotta have story. Leather Daddy just walked up and fucking knifes a teenager. What'd she do? Did she not clean her room?
Oh, no, bro.
Did she miss curfew? What happened, Leather Daddy? Why are you so mad?
Velvet agrees to all of this. Wells gets to said meeting on the set, and he meets Machine and Velvet. Eddie Poole then shows up, as does Longdale, the lawyer, and they get the jump on Wells and produce Max, who they beat the shit out of.
This is something else we've missed, talking about Nicolas Cage and his surveillance job, which I think he just woke up one day, like kind of we did in our 20s, and it was just like, I think I'm going to be a surveillance investigator now. That sounds like a good idea. And just went and bought the equipment. Like he had some cash laying around the house and just did it. So this whole time, throughout since he takes the job, there's somebody following him. We never see who it is. It's just the shadowy outline of a person watching him run around California, New York, yada, yada, yada. You're in this business. And this fucking lawyer is able to follow you all around the entire fucking time, watching every move you make, and you don't realize it?
Yeah, listen, LA,
Jesus Christ, bro.
You're in LA, you're in New York. This is a big country. Those are two big cities. You could spot that mustache from 10 blocks away. You mean to tell me he didn't see Longdale's fucking party favor mustache leaning out the window, looking, see what's going on? Come on.
They're in the middle of a drought, bro. Nothing's growing that thick.
I will say this. For the films in like the 80s and the TV movies that we've done in the past, this is how you shoot somebody following somebody. It's not camera through the bushes. It's literally the long shot behind what obviously looks like a car dashboard. It's just sitting there. It's not following like I'm getting closer. This is how you shoot that. They tie Max here to a cross and ask Tom to get them the only copy of the 8mm film that's there. Longdale then takes Tom by gunpoint to get the film and throw out a bunch of exposition here and reasonings for things and whys and what's and hows and yada yada. And
lots of screaming.
Yeah, lots of screaming. Tom gets the film out of his trunk and he brings it back to Velvet and asks that they let Max go.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, private investigators who have been given the only copy of an 8mm film. Your first move is make a copy of said 8mm film. Period. You don't, listen, you're going to dirty porn garage sales, you're meeting weird German guys that are dressed in like thong, leather, strappy nipple things and whatever the fuck. Whatever you're doing here, this is sketchy as hell. If somebody, because you're not quiet about anything, if somebody knows that you have an 8mm snuff film that is real or not real, you're not sure yet, they're going to steal. Forget the end of this film where they ask for it back. Somebody's going to steal that film. And now everything that you're going off of is gone. Don't do what Nicolas Cage does here and keep the one film. I'm going to put it in the safe in my trunk and blah, 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 blah. First move, make a copy. And then, I don't know, do some actual surveilling of the area that they're going to... They give you the address. Can you surveil the... They got to do some sort of setup. Go surveil it.
Yeah, I don't understand what his plan was supposed to be. Were you going to make a citizen's arrest? You have no authority to detain anyone. It's going to be kidnapping if you do.
Yes.
You are handing over your only bit of proof that a crime has ever been committed.
Yep.
Knowing that this crime had been committed, you should have called the cops immediately. So all of your play here of getting all of the players into one room only amounts to trouble for you.
Yes.
There's nothing that proves any of these perverts did anything.
And by the way, you are commissioned to find out whether this girl is alive or dead. At this point, before the shoot, you already know she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, you pick up the phone and go, yeah, she's dead. Give me my money. You've landed your whale. You're going to get paid, bro. Just call and be like, yep, bitch dead. And now you're done.
Yeah, like, hey, the tape's real. Sorry. Or call Marianne's mom. You can tell her the truth. Call the old lady. Lie to her so she has some fucking peace of mind going to her death because apparently she's never done anything wrong. And walk the fuck away.
Yes.
What the fuck is this martyr syndrome you got where you're going to save the fucking world?
Absolutely.
What are you, fucking Tipper Gore here?
There are themes of sadomasochism, rape, incest, explicit and graphic sexuality.
Here's the one issue. I know I'm like, oh, the shots are it's well lit, yada, yada. Like the director did a fantastic job. The one issue I have with this film is in this scene where Nick Cage asks them to take Max down and let him go. And when he does that, they kill Max by slitting his throat. And wow, Machine cuts Max's throat. And this has to be the worst non-existent effect of all time. I rewound this 4 times because the knife goes across. He doesn't make contact with Joaquin Phoenix's neck. There's no blood that comes off when he slits his throat. It was like they put on film in the final cut of this film, the dry run they did for the scene. It was, I don't remember it. I don't, obviously it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I don't remember this being a thing or that I even noticed it when I first saw the movie. And maybe because you're so caught up in, the storytelling and yada, yada, and whatever, maybe you just didn't notice. This was blatant when I saw it this time around.
You were right.
Here's where my point of contention, I guess, came in right around this same time. And it's just from a character decision-making point.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, special investigators. Uncle Corey here. So your whole plan to citizens arrest the entire group of murderers and pedophiles has gone awry. And they've captured your buddy, Max California. And they say, we'll let you guys go, but we want the tape. They never are gonna let you go.
Yes.
When your best shot at getting out of this is taking that fucking scumfuck lawyer out in some form or fashion when you're at the car. Because that's the only one-on-one situation you got.
Yep.
Until you get out of that, you're both dead at this point. And you think, again, you are so out of your depth here. Because you're like, well, I'll give you the tape, now let him go. You've just committed multiple felonies in front of him. He's gonna go tell a cop. What do you think is fucking happening here, dude?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this?
And even if they do decide to let Max go, they're gonna do the same thing they do here anyway, which is beat the shit out of you, burn the film, and Tom then tells the dirty porn guys that Mr. Christian gave Longdale $1 million for the film, and a standoff happens now between Longdale and dirty porn people, where Velvet and Longdale are both killed, and Tom wounds Machine, and he escapes. In terms of writing and story and all of that, it was really good until this point. It kind of got a little caught up in itself here.
Well, I think part of the problem with it, in my opinion, just from a storytelling aspect, is it almost seems like there are 2 act 2s in this film.
Yeah.
Because typically, if you don't know, when you reach act 2 in a story, that's supposed to be your main character's low point. Right? That's when they're going through some trouble. They're doubting themselves, their ability to get the job done, whatever that is that they're against.
Yeah.
They're doubting themselves, basically. They don't think they can do it. That happens when he runs into Catherine Keener later at the cabin, but it's also happening. It's really exaggerated and it's super late in the movie.
Yeah.
Where I don't understand, it just seems misplaced. Like you said, I don't think it would be bad. It just seems misplaced and it butts up against another point. It's fucking weird. Because then you roll right into the scene with Catherine Keener where he's like, get to the cabin, right? And again, there's no real human emotion. She is a piece of shit to him.
Yes. I'll say this. I'll say this. Your husband, who is a private investigator, who you saw when he left town and hey, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. I got to fucking blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Cool. You see that he's packing a gun and you're like, why are you packing a gun? He's like, just in case. Now, the next time, and these phone conversations throughout this movie, they've gotten a little bit more sketchy as it's gone on. You can kind of tell if you've been married to somebody for more than 10 minutes, you can tell when there's anxiety and stress and whatever in people's voice, right? The next time you physically see him, he's beat to fuck. His face is mashed in. There's blood everywhere. He's got blood on his hands, his face. And by the way, he said, go to the place where we met for the thing and the thing. And he's not telling you, go to the cabin. He's secretly telling you where to go. That's a hint and a half for your ass that like, hey, something might be amiss with this case that he's working on. And then he shows up and looks like that. And you got the balls to go, I'm going to leave you because you're not being forthright. And this shit's serious. No time for questions.
The second she sees his face, she shuts the fuck up and at least gives him a hug for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And is like, gee, like, are you okay? What is happening? Like, you have to explain this. Please rationally explain to me what is happening. But instead, it's like all threats and we may not be there when you get back. He's going off to die.
But
he says he has to finish this or he can't go on. And he goes, I love you. And she just stares at him. You know what? I changed my mind. You better not fucking be there when I get home. How about that, you homeless ass bitch? Because that's my home now, not yours.
Now, I will say this, though, because the Wells character here isn't in the clear because he doesn't say more than 2 words to her. He just, he apparently just goes to the cabin to wash his face and hands and then leave again and gives her not a single stitch of information. Not a, hey, this case got me into a fucking really weird place and there's some guys that want to kill me and I just wanted you to be safe. He doesn't even say anything like that. Like, that's not even getting into super specifics. But he doesn't give her anything. He's like, just do what I say. And which, fine, I'm bloody, you should notice that, and whatever. But he doesn't give her any info to go off of. He doesn't give her a weapon. Doesn't like, there's nothing going on here. He just man, stay here. I'll call you when it's over. And then he goes to Mrs. Christian's house. He gets told by Mr. Belvedere that she committed schmuicide after talking to him on the phone when he told her that the film was real. And she left envelopes for the Matthews family and for Wells. And it contains the rest of his payments and a note reading, try to forget us.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, rich white people. Uncle Corey here. So, you're feeling a little guilty after you found out that your dead husband had a fucking little runaway girl murdered for no reason other than the fact that he fucking could. And now you're in your sads and you're listening to I Cry and you fucking start cutting yourself or however you decide to kill yourself. Totally fine. Good for you. Fuck your fucking money. You stole a little fucking girl from her mother. What are we talking about here? This isn't Jeff Bezos tearing down a fucking bridge from 1912 in Amsterdam or wherever the fuck that happened. You fucking had a little girl murdered. And you're just like, here's something for her mother. I hope 50,000's worth it. I don't know what human life's like anymore. I'm the nice one in the family. The fuck out of here with your fucking money. Take some responsibility for something one fucking time in your stupid fucking rich life. Also, can I have some of your money?
And by the way, she gives them, Tom and the Matthews family, envelopes full of cash. Motherfucker, that ain't enough. I don't know how much is in those envelopes, but I do know this. The amount of cash it would take to, I don't know, own what has happened here doesn't fit into one envelope. Okay? I need a Louis Vuitton suitcase full of cash for me and for Mrs. Matthews here. This isn't an envelope kind of situation. We've kind of gone past that.
At this point, I'm taking more of the hardship than Mrs. Matthews. Like, look at my face. Fuck that. I'm taking more money.
It's shitty, but that's fair.
That's status quo for me and kids, dude. Fuck you. That ain't my problem. You had it, not me.
So this movie starts, we get into the end here, because you think it's the end, but it's not. Tom then decides to go after Machine and Eddie Poole, he tracks down Eddie, takes him to the location where they filmed Marianne's murder. He calls Mrs. Matthews to tell her about her daughter and then asks for her permission to punish those responsible, to which she agrees. And then Wells pistol whips Eddie to death and then burns his body. And the big boxes of porn that he has collected in the trunk of his car.
Hey man, got a big box of porn for you.
Oh.
I think the porn was just more for kindling, I'm hoping, and not more like a statement on censorship. But I loved this scene. One, as I said earlier, Marianne's mother acts her fucking balls off right here.
Yes.
That was phenomenal. Like, I bought it. Like, that woman just lost her daughter. Totally fucking bought it.
Yeah.
I love Nicolas Cage not really being able to do it and then kind of that asking for permission, especially in like the cool Nicolas Cage overacting way, which I'm a sucker for, dude. I love his overacting every time.
Me too.
I'm there for it. And then again, just the perfect way Gandolfini plays this character.
Yeah.
It's just being like scummy and then like, I'm so scared. I know I'm going to die. So fuck you. Fuck this little girl. What are you going to do? Fucking kill me? You fucking pussy. And then to like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh shit. And then actually getting bloodied and beaten to fucking death, which was amazing. The only problem I had was Nicolas Cage walking out all bloody, but acting like he's sad. Like he's going to listen to some emo rock on the way home and get in touch with his feelings.
And then he goes to Machine's house, which is like, if you looked up pedophile in the dictionary, there would be a picture of this house. Pedophiles live in this exact house. Like that's...
I half expected him to, like Nicolas Cage, to knock on the door and just be like, oh, was she a great big fat girl? Is his response to looking for Marianne Matthews.
Absolutely. But he goes in here and, you know, he tracks down Machine. He attacks him in his home. And this spills out into the cemetery, which is right next door in the rain, of course, because you have to have that fight in the rain. And Tom unmasks him to find this weak, bald bitch named George. And George asks Tom, what did you expect? A monster? And then he goes on to tell Tom that he does these films because he just enjoys it. And then they struggle, and then Tom finally kills George Machine.
Like, what did you think? Like, I was a comedian? My name's Corey. I do YouTube because I like it. I like it.
What'd you expect, a monster? My name's George. Can't get your mind around it, huh?
Sorry,
I don't know.
Sorry if I just broke Screen Actors Guild rules with the strike. I didn't mean to.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll forgive you for it. I honestly, I don't know what I thought about this whole scene. As cool as like the Eddie Poole scene was, this scene kind of like,
Nothing I can say is gonna make you sleep easier at night.
Just bludgeon him to death too, and let's fucking end the film.
Yeah, I would have let my test audience decide. I would have shot two scenes here.
That's fair.
One, I would have just had a normal scene where Nicolas Cage breaks into the house. It's a little tense, whatever, but there is no real fight. Like, Machine thinks he's playing the tricks on him, and he just shoots him in the fucking head and walks out of the fucking house. Don't need to know why. Clearly, they didn't come up with a motive. It's just he likes to do it. So why do we need to know why at all? Who gives a fuck? Shoot him and then walk the fuck out of the house.
Yep.
My second ending would be Nick Cage has gone off the fucking rails at this point. Like, killing Eddie and the way he did it and the brutality involved in that has fucked him up. So what he does is he sits in Machine's house and waits for Machine's mom to come home. And then he takes the mom and she's like, my son, where's my son? And then the son comes down and is like, Mom, what the hell? And he goes, this is how it feels. And he shoots the mom in the head and then he just walks out of the house. Let Machine deal with it. None of his fucking problem anymore. He's done. And then he just goes home. And then fucking movie ends the exact same way. But he's just fucking, at this point, he's gone.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. Plus, killing old white ladies is awesome. So cool.
I'm the machine!
The movie ends here after a certain amount of time later. He returns to his family. He's doing, I don't know, some yard work. He gets the mail. And Tom gets a letter from Mrs. Matthews thanking him. And then movie ends. We get credits. I liked this. This ending was kind of cool too. Especially because the letter ends like, I sent this letter to you because you and I are the only two people that actually loved her or thought about her or whatever, or gave a shit about what happened to her. Dude, it's been so long since I've seen this film. I always had this like really weird love of this film. Like it's kind of like Seven. It's dirty. It's grimy. I like those types of films anyway. But again, I haven't seen this in so damn long. I forgot how really good this is. And I know we didn't even touch on Joaquin Phoenix in his role here, but everybody does a great job, but Joaquin Phoenix does a fantastic job in this film.
No, this was, I think, one of those last movies where you asked, who's that guy?
Yeah.
After this movie, you knew his fucking name. Period. Yeah. He wasn't even like River Phoenix's brother anymore. He was like, oh, that's Joaquin Phoenix. I'll go check out that shit. He's good. Yeah, dude. Like here's what I like, and this is, I think, a good tip for any writer or director out there. If you're gonna go dark and grimy like this, go all the way. Do not stop. Ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for permission, because this movie does that. And you might be like, well, there's not a lot of nudity, because there isn't. You don't see a lot of sexual acts, because you don't. But the things they're talking about, the brutality and the violent way they're talking about them, and making sex like this, just like almost like a physical competition. There is no emotion involved in any of it. Like, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, Dino Velvet talking about like, he's going to put the baby, Tom Wells' baby, on camera. Yeah. Is what he says. The wife on camera. Like, they don't shy away from how dire the straits are here for Tom at the end, and why he has to kill them. It's not really about Mary Ann as much as it is, he needs to protect himself too. Yeah. Eddie may have been, and it may be the excuse he's using, but he knows he needs to cover his ass too now, because he's fucked.
Yeah.
And his whole family's in danger. So I love when they do that. I like when they just kind of leave the motive. Like, why did the guy do it? Because he fucking could. Yeah. And when you boil it down to so many things that a lot of these dickheads do, why did Elon buy Twitter? Why did Jeff Bezos tear down the bridge? Why did fucking guys go to space? You know what I mean? Because they fucking could.
Yes.
That's why they do it. Why did idiots go down to visit the fucking Titanic and implode? Because they could, or they thought they could. But, you know what I mean? That's why people do this stupid ass shit.
No, 100%. And dude, I'll tell you right now, I've talked about this a number of times on a number of reviews. I don't like nice, pretty bows. I like things kind of chaotic at the end of movies. Yep. And if it's left up in the air, like this had a nice little pretty bow tied to it, but the motive, that's fucking crazy. Most of the films like this, he was, diddled as a kid, and now he's a diddler, and there's always like this motive that's driving the big bad in these films. And the fact that all of these guys, whether it's Velvet or Eddie Poole or Mr. Christian, who commissions the film, all of the big bads in this, they do it because they like it and because they can. There is no motive. That's why I think that's why this film like has this special place in my heart. The motive is no motive. Is awesome. I fucking love that.
Hell yes.
It seems like a cop-out a lot of the times, but honestly, if you don't have one in your writing process, don't invent one. Don't convolute the story.
Yeah.
Make it simple. That's fine. It's fair. And it's a little more scary that those are the kind of people out there that exist to just do things because they can.
Yeah. No, that's
I think
the in The Strangers. There's no motive.
exactly.
Like
and that's why that's one of my favorite scary movies, and that movie
Yep.
terrifies me.
Yep.
Because it's just random. You were fucking home and we were hungry. That's it. Love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, this is honestly my favorite Nicolas Cage film. I
Same.
really appreciate everything that goes into this movie. I love his overacting is perfect for this role, for this character who's really just kind of a guy trying, but really he doesn't have a super ability. He's not the most intelligent. He's not the most undercover. He's not the best fighter. You know what I mean? He's a guy. He's me and you who just walked into a world of shit that he does not understand. It's fantastic. It makes it easy to empathize. Everything about this movie is good. It is, like you said, I would compare it to a Seven or even a Fight Club with how just dirty it is.
Yeah.
How down and grimy it is. And like those movies, they don't shy away from what they want to do with it. They go right through the fucking wall with it. And it's perfect.
That's what I loved about it too. But I mean, that's all I got. I love this film.
100%. I love this film, but also I'll go watch The Wicker Man on a more regular basis than I'll watch this, because this is a long, gross watch.
Yes, 100%.
And this is not a movie you feel like fucking afterwards either. You need a shower and some Sade and a glass of wine and a cry and just like let me reconnect with human emotion again.
Exactly. So I think we'll end it there because I think you're 100% right with that. But for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1999's 8mm.
Hit up Sherelle for a shirt, nerds.